Welcome to the United States of Tiffany. Our commentary offers a humorous take on wrestling. Please note, we're not bullying or attacking the wrestlers. We're engaging with the choreographed sport and its storylines. Our jokes and observations are about the characters and storylines, not the real people behind them. Tourists and citizens alike, welcome. Enjoy the show, and remember, it's all in good fun.
Welcome back to the show, ladies and gentlemen. I know this is not our usual format, but I had a day that I had a rough time with, but I had some things I also had to take care of. So I couldn't get to Monday Night Raw after show live for you guys. So I decided that I would do it pre recorded and just go over things very, very quickly for you. So let's start off with who kicked off the show. Roman Reigns kicked off the show this week, and essentially he didn't even get the chance. Okay, he did not even get the chance to call himself the tribal chief before y'all tribal thief showed up and took it down from him. Okay, now this led to a back and forth between Paulina and Roman Reigns, to which Roman Reigns basically goaded and poked and prodded at Bronson Reed, to which Paul Heyman did his job as the Oracle and pulled him back. Essentially, what he told him was, you're not on tribal chief time anymore, you're on tribal thieves time. And Roman was just like, look, it don't matter what you say. No matter if you think it's the tribal thieves time, it's always tribal chief time, baby. I'm always going to be him. I'm always going to be the guy. And that's what you don't seem to understand. Your time is the tribal chief's time. So no matter what you do or what you say, you're always on my dime. Always. Of course, this isn't sit too well with Bronson Reed or Paul Heyman. But of course, they felt like the ball was in their court, so they're pulling the strings, and Roman is just a puppet master. Now, where they fucked up was they brought up Roman's father and his uncle and about how disappointed they were at him being laid out on the stretcher after a fight. And to that, I say that's not a fair assessment of what really happened. Because from what I remember, your ass was laid out in the ring, Bronson Reed. Roman Reigns was signing shoes and throwing them in the crowd. And then your homeboy, your crony, Brian Breaker, came in there and stole the spotlight from the man, spearing him. Not once, but twice, 3 times. And then he took like 8 tsunamis from you. So it wasn't like you just beat him down within an inch of his life like you did Braun Strowman. You and your homeboy beat up Roman Reigns. And no, y'all are right. Sika, Alpha, none of them have ever been laid out on a stretcher before by any man, and neither has Roman Reigns. It took 2 of y'all to take that man out. That's the truth. Okay? But Roman wasn't phased. Roman was like, look, he said, tell me what you think my father would tell me right now. He said, go ahead, dumbass, tell him. Because you've been to my family. You know what's going on. You know what's about to happen. So while you sit up here pulling the strings, let me make this easy for you. My father would tell me to go get his ass right now. Go whip his ass. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And he was like, I'll fight you anywhere, anytime. And of course, Paul Heyman is like, got him. He's like, oh, he fell for the okie doke. We got him. And then that's what led to the conversation about Roman Reigns fighting Bronson Reed once again at Crown Jewel. And this match has been made. But not only is he having this match at Crown Jewel, Bronson Reed and Roman Reigns will be in an Australian street fight. Apparently, this is Bronson Reed's specialty. I don't know what the fuck an Australian street fight means, and I don't mean to be stupid or ignorant, but a street fight is a street fight. Um, and I feel like this conversation, this match is obviously going to go in Bronson Reed's favor. They're in Australia, but Bronson Reed might get beat up for his troubles. You know what I'm saying? Because essentially they walked out of WrestlePalooza safe and sound while Roman didn't. There's no way that it's just going to end where Bronson Reed gets the W and all's right with the world. If that's the case, expect Monday Night Raw to be fucking chaos. Anyways, back to the stories at hand. Roman Reigns had his moment, and then he pretty much walked out of there, and that was the end of that. Now they switched over to Asuka. Told Pierce to make a match between Kairi Sane and Io Sky, which Pierce said if it's enough room on the card for the night, sure, I got you. But the next match of the night went to Becky Lynch and Maxine Dupree. Let me tell y'all something. Maxine held her own against Becky. She did everything she was supposed to do. Was it 1000% perfect? No, but it wasn't perfect on either of their parts, honestly. Becky had some, hiccups, and Maxine had a few, but it wasn't anything crazy or ridiculous. I do think with more ring work, more time in the ring, more experience in the ring, Maxine will be perfected. Maxine has great promise. All she needs is time. I feel like Maxine should go down to NXT for a little while after this stint on the main roster, work in NXT for a little bit, and then come back up, and I think she'll be right as rain. Honestly, she is the perfect Tiffany Stratton in the making. And I feel like when she flips characters to be like having a mean girl aesthetic, it's going to work for Maxine better than you ever thought it could. I promise you, going to NXT would be a good thing for her. And I don't mean just like for a month or two. I mean, really stick your feet in the sand and stay in NXT for like a year or two. Go down there and really work that scene with those new girls and like really dig your heels in NXT. I think she would be sensational in NXT after she comes up. But she had a really good match with Becky Lynch. The fans were chanting, "This is awesome." Maxine beat her, but she almost had her beat fair and square, shoulders pinned to the mat. If ref if the referee had counted 1, 2, 3 when she had her down. Now Maxine was able to, she was doing everything she could to take out Becky Lynch. And Becky was disrespecting her, but Maxine was not backing down. The problem is Becky got so cocky, was all in the ref's face, causing the ref all types of grief and strife. And Maxine was getting beat up in the process, but she had enough wherewithal to get her ass back in the ring while Becky was out there showboating and acting a damn fool. The referee got sick of Becky's antics and her bullshit. She gave her grace time and time and time again, and the ref was not having it. She fast counted her ass out very quickly, and Becky Lynch suffered a loss to Maxine. Oh well, it was a well-deserved loss if you ask me, because you've been out there acting real petty. You've been acting real ignorant these days, and ain't nobody got time for that. Okay. So Maxine got a W on Monday Night Raw, and we love that for her. And she did absolutely incredible. I'm so proud of Maxine. Girl, you did that. Now, let's move into this match. We have seen this match so many times. I'm just tired of watching these four circle around each other like vultures. It's annoying. I don't know what they're going to do, but they need to do something else. They're stuck in hell waiting for Liv Morgan to come back, and I just need them to find something else to do. Seriously. But Lyra had a decent match with Roxanne. I expected nothing less. Of course, Raquel's big ass got involved, but Bailey was out there. Bailey was able to thwart her, but she also got beat up. As she got beat up, Roxanne tried to cheat, to which Bailey was able to help, keeping her from falling on Roxanne, falling while Roxanne was trying to powerbomb her. Roxanne kind of fell backwards trying to powerbomb the girl, and then Lyra tried to do a moonsault on her, and she hit it, but she wasn't able to keep her down. The match began to break down after this. Roxanne was able to pick up the W, cheating, obviously. And then they started the attack on Lyra. And then Bailey came in and was fighting them. And they ran. And Bailey wasn't having that shit. Bailey had flipped by then. And she was like, come on, we're going to get them. They took their asses to the back, and them hoes was fighting. When I tell you that Bailey and Lyra jumped them bitches in the back, it was some hood antics. And I was like, damn, what the fuck? I was like, this is the most hood shit I have ever seen in my life. I've never seen something so fucking crazy in my life. Craziness. So, um, it was the funniest shit I had seen. I was like, this is the type of shit I'm talking about. When a bitch give you a lick, get that hoe a lick back. Stop letting these bitches play with you like that. Like, that's crazy to me. So I was proud of Bailey and Lyra for going back there and taking it to them hoes and not letting them get intimidated to get beat up like that. Any whoosies. In between time, we got some little, camera time with a few of the guys. And we saw Roman Reigns go back there and he was talking to his cousins. And his cousins was just like, we saw you talking out there to Bronson Reed, and we know it's a street fight and we got your back. Jimmy was like, nah. Jay was like, nah, I got your back. I got your back. And he was like, nah, like, I don't need y'all help. I'm good. I'm straight. But he was like, I don't understand. Like, why are you worried about what I got going on? Shouldn't you be focused on you getting your championship back? Shouldn't you be, hosting the top of the hour? Who's talking at the top of the hour today? He was like, CM Punk. He was like, and not you? All right. And he was like, what you gonna do about that? He was like, you need to go out there and handle your business. So Roman's standing there and Jimmy's standing there, and Jimmy just like, ugh. And Roman is like, you know that I hear everything. I see everything. So what's wrong with me giving Jay advice? You don't like my advice? And Jimmy just kind of, how like you watch somebody shrink, you watch somebody cower, and that's kind of what he did. And I hate when they do that. That makes me so fucking pissed. It makes me so mad because under whose authority does it give you the right to lord over anybody else? In what capacity? Like, why does it matter? You know what I'm saying? Um, hold on. I shall return. Now, backstage, there was an interaction between Jimmy, Jay, and Roman Reigns. This is a turning point in their family story arc and where it's going. But before we get there, we got to go to where it started. CM Punk took the top of the hour and he decided to come out and let everybody know what he's been doing the last couple of weeks, relishing in a win with his beautiful wife, AJ Lee. And he's been living his life, celebrating a W, 10 years off the game. She came back very much on her 1-2 diddly, and he has been living the high life ever since. He also said that the second reason why he didn't come back was because he made a promise to Cody Rhodes that he would stay out of his way and out of his business. The match between Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes, it's about bragging rights. It's about positioning yourself to be at the top of the mountain. And all CM Punk can think or dream and eat, sleep about is that World Heavyweight Championship that slipped through his hands for less than 5 minutes. So, isn't it ironic? The very same thing that he used to pick and poke and prod at Drew McIntyre for is the same thing that he now has suffered the loss for. It's very poetic justice. And I'm sure Drew McIntyre is somewhere cheesing his little head off. With that being said, as CM Punk made it very clear that Seth Rollins was always going to be his target and that he was never going to stop until he got that championship, LA Knight appeared. And LA Knight made it very clear that while he respected everything he was saying and he fully understood it, he also understood that he was the first person and the last person to pin Seth freaking Rollins. He was the last one. Okay? He was the last one. And nobody else has been able to pin Seth Rollins except for him. He was the last one. So he feels as though the line starts with him. It doesn't start with CM Punk. This led to a back and forth between the two men, and then Jey Uso hit the scene. Jey Uso came out there and was like, I never got a rematch for my championship. I want my title back. And if y'all want a title shot, y'all gonna have to get behind me because I'm up first. Period. Now the boys got in each other's face and there was a lot going on. And of course, as Jay was proceeding to go in there, he was trying to stop Punk and Jey Uso from fighting. Now, Jey Uso took out LA Knight. Jey Uso then looked at CM Punk. CM Punk was like, listen, I know you and I are cool, but he was like, look, you're not Roman Reigns, and if you ask me, that's a good thing. You shouldn't be Roman. But if you get in my way, you and I are going to have a problem. So they start going at it, and Jimmy's trying to keep them from fighting. And it leads to him trying to super kick CM Punk. He moves Jimmy, moves Jay out the way. Jay's like fighting him, like, what are you doing? Jimmy then gets moved out the way. CM Punk punches Jay dead in this shit. And then this leads to a back and forth between the boys. Jimmy then super kicks CM Punk in the face. Now the twins walk away from this, but this leads to a match that happens later on in the night. After this is over, an interaction happens between the twins and Roman. Jey Uso is frustrated, upset, angry. He's mad because he feels like Jimmy is in his way. And he's like, what is you out here doing? Why was you out there in my business? You had no business being out there. You need to mind your business. Now you have to remember the whole time that he was out there with LA Knight and CM Punk, they was telling him like, hey, you need to go back to your tag team shit. This ain't got nothing to do with you. A tag team is what you were. A tag team is where you belong. But Jey Uso has progressed beyond that. So that's a disrespectful thing to say to somebody, especially when they're a former world champion. And Jay is the only one in that ring who held that championship longer than CM Punk, and LA Knights never had it. So let's keep it real. But Jay got in the back and he was like, what are you doing? Are you trying to protect Punk? Is that what you're doing? Jimmy's like, no, man. Like, what are you talking about? And he's like, you need to stay out of my way. Simple as that. You need to find which side you own and stay out of my way. And Jimmy's like, I'm on your side, man. I've always been on your side. Like, he like, man, what is you talking about? He like, look, he talking to Roman now. And he like, look, I know what you're doing. He says, you say you see and you hear everything. All right, well, hear this. He was like, I know you keep getting into his head, messing him up, putting him on the wrong path. This is not the way he need to go about it. And he was like, you sitting up here acting like this. He was like, let me tell you something, man. He was like, I'm not like you, and Jay's not like you. And Roman was just like, well, he was like, I know you don't want to hear this, but I need you to hear what I'm saying. Right now, your brother Jay is more like me than you ever will be. And you need to understand that you running in and saving him and stopping him and all this other shit, you need to stay out of your brother's way. That's what you need to be doing. I saw on Twitter, somebody on Twitter said, and to an extent, I understand, but I disagree. They said, it's crazy. All it takes is one show and a couple backstage segments to set the stage for the next 5 to 6 months. Roman got Jay fully locked in, and Jay now understands why Roman was acting like that all those years. Jimmy's eventually going to have to understand and go get his own singles title. Here's why I say that's not true. Roman actually had the title. He had it. Roman was acting like that to maintain control. It was never about going after what he wanted and being at the top of the mountain. It was always about control. Jay Uso's issue is that he was conflicted with his own wants and his own interests, and he didn't know how to go about them while still being a good person. And Roman was just like, you can't have both. You got to pick one or the other. You either going to be selfish or you're going to be a good person. Which one is it? So Jay chose to be selfish. And this is the path that he's going to go down. However, we all know where this path leads. We all know where this path leads. Now, one part of that conversation on Twitter, which I will show you guys so you can see what I'm talking about, so I can give people credit where credit is due.
For no reason, sir. No, Sprint man, what up, Boost? What's up? What are you doing here?
Let me turn that off. I'll cut that out. Okay. So y'all see where it says it right here. Okay. Now the whole situation with them and their whole thing, like, I think that it will culminate with Jay Uso and his brother Jimmy fighting. I really do think that Jimmy has to get his own thing. So I do agree with the Twitter user on that front. I think that Jimmy will eventually get there, and I think that Jimmy will eventually become Intercontinental Champion. I also believe that Jimmy is a much better talker than his brother. He has a little bit more ease and rapport on that microphone than Jay does. And I think when he finally does move into that spotlight, it's going to come very easy and very quick for him. It's going to be simple and fun. So I can't wait to see how this is going to play out. But to Roman's credit, he is manipulating his cousin into moving and shaking the way that he did. But Jimmy can't save his brother. I will say this. The interesting thing is that everybody's acting as if Jay Uso had this miraculous turn where he was able to be so successful and he did it all outside of his brother. That's not true. Without Jimmy, none of this is possible or ever happens. I didn't see Roman Reigns sacrificing himself to Gunther to ensure his brother had the tenacity to do what he needed to do to get that man down and to get that championship. It wasn't Roman that was out there proud of his brother, hugging his brother at WrestleMania, giving his brother all the props. And I'm sure Roman was backstage, but he wasn't the one. That was Jimmy. So for Jay to be disrespecting him this way after everything he sacrificed to help him get there is out of line. Roman is out of line for how he's also behaving when it comes to Jimmy because he's acting as if Jimmy is wrong for questioning him when he knows how they got to this point is because of him. He knows that Roman is fucking crazy. And Jay Uso is going down the same path as him, which is going to isolate him, put him all alone in his own little bubble, and shit's not going to go easy for him. It's going to be a rough road back to that championship if he gets back to it. You feel what I'm saying? Now, we had the match with Io Sky and Kairi Sane. They had their match. It was a decent match. It was brutal. Kairi put that girl through the ringer. Okay, she busted her shit on the edge of that apron. She tore her ass up. All right. But Kairi was helped and got the win via Asuka. Io was all on her own because Rhea was in Perth, in Sydney, actually doing press for Crown Jewel. So she was not able to come out there and help. So Io was all on her own, got beat down by Asuka, but she also cut a vignette promo prior saying that she was not family with Asuka and Io anymore. And Asuka also cut a promo and she was just like, yeah, our relationship is done. No apologies accepted. We're finished. You know what I'm saying? So the situation is dire, and the girls will be fighting at Crown Jewel. Then we come to the part where Seth Rollins has given everybody the true reasoning behind why he has this anger and animosity towards Cody Rhodes. And it's about as basic as expected. It's very similar to what Kevin Owens spouted in terms of him. But Kevin Owens' anger towards Cody and his teaming up with Roman made sense to me. Kevin Owens was fighting Roman Reigns for almost 5 years by himself. It was a losing battle. And like I have said time and time again, Seth Rollins is smart. He's smarter than what most people give him credit for. He knew watching Kevin battle against Roman and all of Roman's greatness, it was just going to be a losing battle. He knew he was going to need a bigger, stronger ally in order to take down Roman Reigns and his tyranny. But it wasn't because he wanted to somehow purge the WWE of Roman Reigns and his existence. This had nothing to do with him. The truth came out last Monday when they had their little tiffs. The truth came out then when he said, we're not friends and you were the lesser of two evils. That's the truth. It had nothing to do with him teaming up with him to get rid of Roman. He knew he couldn't do it by himself. He knew that. So teaming up with Cody was easy, even though he had never beaten that man. And that also was in the back of his mind. So now all he's doing is using everything that has happened up until now to fuel his misguided ignorance of beating Cody Rhodes and getting this crown jewel ring, which in a sense only means something to him because Cody already has one. It'd be different if Cody Rhodes didn't have one, but he already has it. So it means nothing to Cody other than he could just beat Seth Rollins and be done with it. At the end of the day, Seth is the only one who has something to prove here. Cody has nothing to prove. Now, there is something that he said that was very pertinent. He said that he sacrificed his title, his health, all for Cody. Is that true? I don't think that's true. You had an opportunity to retain your championship at WrestleMania. You also forced yourself to compete even though you knew you were not completely at 100%. All of these things could have been avoided. Number one, had you had not allowed yourself to be goaded into a match to go up against Drew McIntyre. That's the first thing. And number two, if you weren't so hell bent at being at every single fucking WrestleMania, you also wouldn't have had to go through that hell either. Now, I ain't gonna lie. Wrestling in 3 matches in 2 days is fucking brutal. Okay? That's crazy. But these were also choices that you made. These were your decisions. To blame him as if he set all these wheels in motion for you to be the Shield, you stepped up and did that. You did that. You put yourself out there. So don't blame Cody for your decisions. Now, what he chooses to do with it afterwards is his business. But for you to act as if Cody betrayed you by joining up with Roman Reigns is very interesting. I think that's very interesting because you had no issues with the new evil that was rising in WWE in terms of Solo. Solo was attacking Cody Rhodes every single day of the week. And Roman was the only one who could take him down. You didn't want to join the team to take him out, to take down Solo, even though they also were targeting you. It meant nothing to you to go after them. You were done. But it's interesting because I guess you have no issues with Bronson Reed. Bronson Reed took your ass out every step of the way. Tsunami after tsunami after tsunami. But I guess it was easier to join Bronson Reed than it was to join Roman Reigns. Another issue I have with this whole I was trying to purge him and you just teamed up with him less than 6 months later. It's funny how you don't want to forgive Roman for his transgressions, but you expect to be forgiven for yours. And you fucked up royally multiple times. Lest we forget, you forget, but the pandemic era, I never forget because it was absolute madness, but it was actually not that bad when you really go back and look at it. You were the Messiah, remember? You had a minion, right? In Buddy Murphy, whole situation. You went after the Mysterios with a vengeance. You acted as if they were the bane of your existence. So much so that you ripped out this man's eye, kayfabe, threw up after you did it, and then taunted his son. You beat the hell out of Dominic Mysterio. I'm convinced if you hadn't did this to this boy, he probably wouldn't have been successful to Rhea Ripley abusive ass bullshit. But you whipped that boy like he stole something from you. You beat the hell out of him. You beat the hell out of his father. Lest we forget your ultimate betrayal when you stole the damn title from Roman Reigns. And on top of that, you betrayed the Shield in probably one of the biggest betrayals in WWE history. You took them out and you never atoned for that sin. I don't care what you're talking about. You never apologized. You never said anything. The only time you ever said anything to Roman was years and years later after you claimed you had changed, only for you to flip a few years later to be a dastardly human being once again. So, are we really talking about atoning for our sins or purging the WWE of evil? Because if that's the case, you, my dear, are one of the biggest problems. And you always have been. It doesn't take much for you to become selfish, to become diabolical, and to become evil. It only takes just a little nudge. Just a little one. That's all it takes. Because you have no willpower. None. So I don't believe any of this. I believe it's exactly what you said it was. It's not about Seth. It's not about Cody going out there and teaming with Roman Reigns. That probably pissed you off. But it was always about domination. It was always about you being the guy because you feel like you deserve it. It's always been that way. And it always will be that way because you believe you're the best, because you believe you're better, because you believe you've sacrificed everything for this business, for the fans, for everybody, and everybody else left. You were the only one who was loyal and stayed, and you feel like that you should be rewarded for that. Well, I'm going to tell you this. You probably will get this Crown Jewel Championship, but if I was writing this, you would lose. And not because I want to hurt you, only for the sheer madness that it would bring, the chaos. You would not be able to deal with losing. That's why I don't think that you will. It would like literally stick in your craw that you lost again. This will be number 4 to Cody Rhodes. But I believe that you should lose. And I'm going to do a full on story arc breakdown of why you should lose and where it should go from here, having saw what I just saw. And we'll put that video up probably tomorrow. But let's move on. So after the twins, the Usos, ended up fighting against CM Punk and LA Knight, this led to an impromptu tag team match that Adam Pearce made for the final match of the night. This was our storied match. Now, prior to this, we had a 6-man tag team match with Penna, AJ Styles, Dragon Lee, and we had Judgment Day. Well, the match ended in a Styles clash on JD after Dominic Mysterio ran from Rusev. He just ran and left Finn and JD McDonough to fend for themselves in a 3-on-2 finisher match while Rusev was laid out by Penna by accident. This is obviously going to lead to the two of them fighting for a number 1 contender spot against Dominic Mysterio, more than likely at Saturday Night Main Event or at another Monday Night Raw. Who knows? But this is going to pull Rusev off of Dominic Mysterio for now. And it looks like they might be putting Penna on Dominic for a little while. Now, we also found out that Dragon Lee and AJ Styles are looking to get a title shot against the tag team champions, which they may end up getting that title shot, seeing as how they pinned Judgment Day today with their partner Penna. Now, I don't know how that's going to work, but I would love to see Dragon Lee get a championship in the WWE, and it would be nice to see AJ Styles get one last title before he retires sometime next year. With that being said, let's get to the final match of the night, which was also a tag team match. Jey Uso and his brother Jimmy Uso faced off against the unlikely, unhappy duo of LA Knight and CM Punk. They agreed to disagree and to stay out of each other's way and to actually do this so they can win this match. This match began to break down at the end. Jey Uso was left in the ring getting ready to do his Uso splash when LA Knight came in and caused a distraction. This allowed CM Punk to get the drop on Jey Uso, and this led to a little mix-up between the twins. Jimmy was still out at this time. LA Knight was able to get back up, and as CM Punk was getting ready to prepare for the go to sleep, he got tagged out by his partner, LA Knight, and LA Knight ended up going for the BFT and got the W. He essentially did what The Miz had been doing to his partner, or former partner, Mello, for months and stole the win from the former world heavyweight champion. And of course, this stuck in CM Punk's craw. And of course, LA Knight was not happy. He was cheesing and having the best time because he got one over on the illustrious and amazing CM Punk, and CM Punk never saw it coming. The show went off without a hitch, and the twins were in the ring laid out while CM Punk was cussing out LA Knight. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is your Monday Night Raw. Let me know in the comments what you thought about the show. If you liked it, if you didn't, I wouldn't be mad if you didn't. But it was a decent show, I will tell you that. To give you guys a bit of a rundown as to what's going to happen heading into Crown Jewel, which is this Saturday. It comes on Saturday at 8 a.m. Listen to me. It comes on Saturday at 8 a.m. Okay, it is early. If you can't catch it on the first initial go around, get it on the replay. Okay, get it on the replay. Now, these are the Crown Jewel matches for the Crown Jewel Championship. The winners receive a Crown Jewel ring. They don't get to carry the Crown Jewel title. That stays in Saudi Arabia on display. It's a massive, gaudy, ugly ass belt, but I do like the green in the belt and the diamonds. It's really pretty and glittery and shiny, but it's huge. It's a huge belt and it's so unnecessary. I think the ring idea was the better of the two, but it is what it is. Anyways, Seth Rollins is set to take on Cody Rhodes, someone that he has never beaten. And it seems that even at Cody Rhodes' lowest, he usually has Seth Rollins' number. So, being as how Cody Rhodes is 100% and prepared, the odds are not in Seth Rollins' favor. But I'm going to tell you this right here and now. I don't think that Cody Rhodes is going to win. I also think that they're going to help him lose. I think that the Bronze are going to come in there and cost him this match for sure. If it isn't Bronson Reed, it's definitely going to be Braun Breaker. He was noticeably missing on this episode of Monday Night Raw, which leads me to believe he's on the press tour with Rhea Ripley and Grayson Waller and probably New Day over in Australia right now. There's because I would have had Bronson Reed go to Perth and do the touring if he wasn't going to be on the show. But he is going to be on the show, and Braun Breaker wasn't here. So I think that the situation is definitely going to go where Braun Breaker is probably going to come out there and help him beat Cody Rhodes. And that's going to be the start of obviously Seth Rollins' rebound, and, him stopping to obsess over Cody, but not necessarily stop, but just pause that for a second and genuinely bask in his own ambiance for a little while. With that being said, the women are also competing. Their match isn't as spicy, if that makes sense. The two of them obviously have something to prove. Stephanie Vaquer is a champion caliber champion. She just got her title not too long ago at WrestlePalooza. Stephanie is a supreme wrestler. She is the La Primera. Okay. Now, when it comes to Tiffany Stratton, I ain't gonna lie. My opinion of Tiffany Stratton is biased. But to just be fair, Tiffany Stratton is the current longest reigning champion in all of WWE, and she has defended her title several times. 5 times against Nia Jax, 3 times against Jade Cargill, and I think she's defended it a couple times against a few other people like Trish Stratus and somebody else. But with that being said, she hasn't really had an extensive title reign or competition. So going up against Stephanie Vaquer is a different beast. And it's going to be very interesting to see how well she performs against a woman of Stephanie's caliber. Okay? I'm putting my money on Stephanie Vaquer. I would rather Stephanie Vaquer be the champ than Tiffany Stratton. But I have a sneaking suspicion that they're probably going to give it to Tiffany Stratton, which high key sucks. The current reigning Saudi or Crown Jewel champion is Liv Morgan. She's the last person or the inaugural Crown Jewel women's champion. So there's that. Moving on, we heard AJ Styles after he won his match make it very clear that there is a match at Crown Jewel between he and John Cena, and there is no build up because what doesn't need to be said is already written. Okay, he knows that they already have a storied past, and they don't have to have no story. They just gonna go out there and put on a banger, and they're gonna leave it all in the ring. And then he gave the salute to his former comrade and battle, John Cena. And that's how it went up, which I thought that was so cute. And I thought that was so nice. It's kind of making me sad because the guys I grew up watching, the guys I remember seeing laying it out all on the line are now retiring and the new people are moving in. And it's just, It's just making me so sad. This match was added today. Bronson Reed will take on Roman Reigns once again at Crown Jewel in Perth, and he will be the hometown hero. But it's not going to be an easy fight. In fact, it's going to be an Australian street fight, which I have no idea what that is. Now, according to y'all Oracle, an Australian street fight is what Bronson Reed made his name on in Australia, and this is what got WWE to notice him. So, according to Google, it says that the stipulation was a marketing choice for a match in Australia rather than an Australian specific wrestling style. And it did not have any different rules than a standard street fight. I don't understand why they have to call it an Australian street fight. Like, what is the difference? Just call it a fucking street fight. And if you guys have like fucking kangaroos and shit out there, that's low-key weird. Like, typical American shit. Like, just call it a fucking street fight, bro. Or you could have just put them inside a steel cage. That would have been fun. But whatever. And last but not least, the girlies are fighting. And right now, this is one of only 2 matches at Crown Jewel that has the women featured. Io Sky has decided that her new family is Rhea Ripley. And Rhea Ripley and Io are going to take on the Kabuki Warriors. At every turn, they have broken Io Sky's heart. And not only is she hurt, she is angry. And she wants nothing to do with Asuka or Io. She wants them to pay for their transgressions. And she's going to ensure that they do. So as I said, it's going to be Io Sky versus and Rhea versus Asuka and Kairi Sane. And these girls are going to put you through the ringer because this is going to be a banger. Okay? The Kabuki Warriors are going to be doing some dastardly shit. And you know some mist is going to come out. I suspect that Asuka's going to accidentally mist Kairi in the face in this match. Yeah. Well, y'all let me know what y'all think about this in the comment section below. Very soon, you guys are going to get some clips from Wrestle Eats because I am going to be filming and I cannot wait. I'm so freaking excited. But Wrestle Eats is coming towards the end of October. The last 2 weeks of October, you will get 2 episodes of Wrestle Eats. I am so excited to show you guys these episodes. I finally got something else to film with and hold my phone so you guys could see everything. I have a beautiful ring light so you can see everything. Oh, I am so excited. It's going to be a good time. So make sure you guys rate, comment, and subscribe. Don't forget to ask me all of the questions you want to ask so that I can have the Q&A done on the mukbang part of the show. And I will see you guys in my next one. I love you so much. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you next time.
Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe for more wrestling content. Check out our merch and consider becoming a member for exclusive perks, special emojis, and members-only content.